Good morning and welcome back to Concerned Citizens Media again. For today, I'm gonna spend some time on a very important development from the United States Congress members, and also the letter from the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, which is released to press. The Congress is, as you may already heard, they are uh, starting to crack the silence taken by President Donald Trump administration on the ongoing situation in Ethiopia. The State Department and the United States Embassy in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, knowingly or unknowingly, have been ignoring the severe human rights violations and the bloodshed happening in Ethiopia. Now, with this 20 courageous congressmen and women's bold step, the United States silence will come to an end, and the crimes ordered by Abiy Ahmed and carried out by his subordinates will be put on notice for further action like sanctions and other measures if they continue their criminal activity against Oromos in Oromia, Ethiopia. So Congress signed a letter to Secretary Mike Pompeo, the State Department, concerning about the situations in Ethiopia. Now, this action should have been taken by Ethiopian Embassy in United States Embassy in Addis Ababa and by Secretary of State Office, but they have been silent for some reason. I don't know. Usually during TPLF time, usually letters come out from United States Embassy in Addis Ababa or from Secretary of State, at least expressing concerns, but not at this time. So we have to appreciate this letter signed by 20 congressmen and women. So I just focus on this one and the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission and what is expected from Keros, Kares, and from all Oromos on the ongoing movement. So I entirely put this letter for history. It's a minor thing. It's a very important step for the next milestone, and I read it entirely, and I will read the names of these 20 courageous leaders who stood up for freedom, justice, and we should appreciate them and encourage them to do more. Okay, dear Secretary Pompeo, this is a letter sent to the Secretary of State by congressmen and women. We write to convey our serious concerns about the recent unrest in Ethiopia. reports of security force abuses, ethnic and religious violence, the departure from democratic norms are alarming and have led to a more dangerous and unstable environment. We urge you to engage with the Ethiopian government and all other stakeholders to prevent violence and protect civilians, to promote stability and better dialogue, and to support continued progress toward strengthening democratic institutions. The letter continues. The killing of popular Oromo singer and Ethiopian activist Hachalu Hundessa on June 29th precipitated the current crisis, and the violence that followed underlying and dangerous ethnic, religious, and socio-political tension that could derail Ethiopia's democratic transition. The arrest of several prominent opposition leaders has raised concerns of politically motivated persecutions and backsliding on the government's stated commitment to freedom of speech. While Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed advanced a vision of national unity early in his term by releasing political prisoners and banning many political parties and promising free and fair elections, it is clear that there is still much to be done to accomplish the reform agenda he promoted when he took office. Ethiopia has experienced a regression in democratic principle in recent months, including limitation on free speech, arrests of journalists and opposition officials, and restriction on internet freedom. These actions have been documented in the news and by human rights organizations such as Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and the International Crisis Group. Importantly, concerns of democratic backsliding were outlined months before the June 29, 2020 murder of Hachalu Hundessa, suggesting that Ethiopia has been facing challenges in upholding democratic principle for some time. The graphic reports of violence targeting ethnic and religious communities are extremely concerning, as are reports of excessive force by Ethiopian security forces against protesters. Elections, which are constitutionally required to take place this year, have been delayed indefinitely, and the freedom of expression is being increasingly stifled after an opening of space for free speech was established in the first part of Abiy's tenure. An unstable Ethiopia with violence, ethnic division, and politically motivated persecutions will be a less reliable partner for the United States and will fail to project our democratic values. Ethiopia's current situation will create lasting and harmful instability if it is not addressed, undermining its future and the US interest. Ethiopia's democratic opening and interest in partnering with the United States present a once-in-a-generation opportunity to support an enduring chance. In light of recent events, we urge you to work with the Ethiopian government as well as political opposition and local activists to call for and advance respect for basic human rights and democratic principles in Ethiopia, including by encouraging the following: dialogue with political parties on a plan for rescheduling election and a renewed effort to ensure a free and fair pre-election environment, an open internet and full freedom of speech for citizens, opposition parties and the press, a revision to the state of emergency measures to reflect international standards, to safeguard against abuse and ensure that they are time-bound and enforced only as absolutely necessary. Respect for due process and a fair and a fully transparent judicial process for all those arrested during the recent unrest. A transparent and independent examination of human rights abuses reported by leading international groups and the media. A denunciation of ethnic and religious violence across the country, including those who may have used the murder of Hachalu Hundessa as a pretext for targeting those from other communities. A transparent and independent investigation into the murder of Hachalu Hundessa. Ethiopia is facing many challenges upholding the principles of democracy and human rights. It is imperative that the United States engage more constructively on those issues and call for positive change. We respectfully request that you take steps to address this critical situation and report your progress to the members of Congress listed below within 60 days. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So this is very, very essential letter, very helpful for the situation concerning what's going on in Oromia and Ethiopia. And it is written to the State Department, Mike Pompeo, and encourage him and give him a time limit to discuss with Ethiopian authorities, with opposition parties and activists on the situation in Ethiopia, and come back and report whatever they find, whatever action they took, and report it to Congress. So this is an essential, very essential step, and we will see after 60 days, but the letter express clearly what's going on in Ethiopia. You know, the calls for independent investigation, for free trial, for election to be held if it's postponed, if it's necessary to postpone it, discussion with opposition parties. So it's very, very important, and I know Abiy and his supporters, they don't want to hear about this, but it's coming for them. So it is signed by 20 congressmen. I will put their name for record. It should be. They deserve it. This is a courageous, bold step they took in the face of the United States government. They're silent. They know what's going on, but they choose to be silent. So the action of those congressmen and the women should be appreciated by all Oromo Americans in the diaspora community. So I read their names and where they represent, and we should also keep in touch with them and keep informing them and keep lobbying for them for further action if things are not changing. Congressman Dean Phillips, this is from Minnesota, 3rd District. Elliot Engel, New York, 16th District. Karen Bass, this is Los Angeles, California, 37th District. Betty McCollum, Minnesota, 4th District. James McGovern, Massachusetts, 2nd District. Steve Stevers, Ohio, 15th District. That's the Republican. I think that's the only one here. So Oromo activists, they should have continued their lobby for more Republicans. For some reason, I have only one Republican here. Still is very important. Tom Malinowski, New Jersey, 7th District. Jamie Raskin, Maryland, 8th District. Dina Titus, Nevada's 1st District. David Tron, Maryland, 6th District. And Abdullahi Omar, this is a Minnesota woman, the only, I think. Okay, Minnesota, 5th District. Colin Oller, Texas, 32nd District. Angie Craig, Minnesota, 2nd District. Jackie Spacer, California, 14th District. Eddie Burns Johnson, Texas, 13th District. Anna G. Esho, California, 18th District. Steve Cohn, Tennessee, 9th District. Joyce Beatty, Ohio, 3rd District. Robin Kelly, Illinois, 2nd District. And the last one, but not the least, Alma Adam, North Carolina, 12th District. And this is the only one with PhD. So thank you, congressmen and women, for taking the bold steps, for sharing our pain and the cries. Okay, the other letter released This week is the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission. This is actually the government watchdog. They also, this body also released a statement, which is still good, even though it's a government watchdog, probably paid by the government salary. But still, their statement is very important, and is also exposing what the other medias are reporting, So I'm gonna read this statement also. The Ethiopia Human Rights Commission, okay. Oromia is still reeling from the grim weight of tragic killing this year. These grave patterns of abuse should never be allowed to continue. Ethiopia Human Rights Commission is deeply alarmed by the loss of life in Oromia and calls on authorities to prevent security forces from using excessive force. Authorities should ensure that the right to peaceful protest can be exercised and law enforcement measures against anything beyond that do not exceed proportion. That is Ethiopian Human Rights Commission spokesman Aaron Masho said in a statement. So this is encouraging to hear from the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, to hear this strong statement. Anyway, this week you see these two letters, and the other one is also we heard the two ambassadors. I think one is Ethiopian ambassadors resign from their post because of the situation, ongoing situation in Oromia. This is also another encouraging news. We should appreciate that. So these are all exposing what's the Abiy administration promised to do and what is doing now. So these significant developments are the results of Qeerros and Qarres and all Oromo active resistance movement back home and around the globe. Our constant cries, prayers start getting an answer. The blood of teenagers, Qeerros, Qarres, senior citizens, senior religious scholars, and mosque imams, and the bloods of all innocent Oromos murdered on their own land may be shining again to see justice done against their killers. Our efforts are exposing the criminal acts of Abiy Ahmed and his collaborators. They cannot get away with it anymore. Oromos are marching, Oromos are protesting, Oromos are shouting, Oromos are crying, and Oromos are praying for justice every day and night. So really, all the activities we took in the last several months are showing some encouraging results. We are getting attentions. We are becoming, voice for the voiceless. we are exposing Abiy Ahmed and his use of excessive force on uh, young boys, young as like 10 years. Excessive force used on pregnant women, religious scholars, mosque imams, peaceful protesters, and all older people, and the disrespect they have uh, for Oromos, the destruction they do against the properties of Oromos, the raping they do, the torturing, the jailing of innocent citizens for for nothing more than political assassination, for arresting of all our politicians. These are all just dirty politics. Try to uh, crush them so they will be off from the political field uh, in the future. So Bilsagana or prosperity plays a major role. So instead of competing with them in the political field, they choose to go this way by killing people, by torturing people, by raping people, by arresting with no reason except the political, uh, assassination, using excuse, by claiming that we're gonna keep law and order. No, that's a political assassination. That's a calculated. You're gonna release it later or sooner or later. You will release it. You will be forced to release it through, you know, uh, our prayers, Keros movement back home and as the diaspora. You will be forced with the international communities is coming for you. It may take time, but slowly, surely it will come for you. So the Oromo's prayer in Minnesota, in other states, and around the globe, I never seen the prayer like this. Never seen the prayer for jailed politicians, for the country, for Oromos in general. I never seen a prayer day and night, Oromos praying for the release of political prisoners, for the removal of the command post, for the removal of the leader, Abiy Ahmed, from power and his group. I never seen young, old, female, men praying day and night for peace of the country, for peace of Oromos, for the safe return of Oromo land for Oromos, for the removal of these criminals from Oromia. I'm surprised what I've been seeing especially in Minnesota, the Oromo Americans in Minnesota. You guys are doing the great job. The Keros, Karres, and the others Oromo Americans in Minnesota, especially. And your prayer, your cries, your protest is showing some encouraging results. It starts with a Congress letter, and also I see some congressmen standing with the Oromo flag and showing with the resistance movement sign with Oromos in Minnesota. It is very excellent you guys keep up the fight, and which is good. I see some movement in London against Ethiopian embassies. So I see in France, even though it looks like France police are aggressive against these peaceful protesters demanding justice from that embassy, supposed to represent the majority in back home. The Oromos are the majority. They're supposed to get fair representation, and you know. So yes, yes, there are some challenges. Still, we have to keep fighting and keep what we are doing. These are encouraging situations. You guys keep fighting and keep doing what you have been doing. Oromos must continue everything they have been doing in the past. Social campaigning, lobbying, protesting at Ethiopia and other embassies. Like we have to start protesting at United Kingdom Embassy, Canada Embassy, Australian Embassy, European Union embassies, France, German embassies, and the United Nations headquarters. Oromos living around that area or close by, they have to show up in front of these embassies to raise the concerns we have in Oromia. We have to speak for the teenagers killed, for the women raped in Ethiopia, for the seniors disrespected in Ethiopia, for the seniors killed in front of their houses, and for the gentleman killed and his body was left for the animals, the wild animals, to be eaten. For very, very young children are killed today by military forces. People are killed at the funeral services. I have seen one report, from Badessa. The guy was praying for the child killed, and they are burying him. On that ceremony, he was praying for him, but in that ceremony, and at that funeral service, the imam was killed. These people are, I don't know where they come from. I don't know where they come from. They are worse than Agazi. They are the worst. I don't know, maybe I heard some report there are some Eritreans. If that report is true, maybe, this cruelty, brutality may be coming from that area, because these people, they applied that tactic to eliminate all oppositions in Eritrea. So to make it a one-man show in Eritrea. Eritrea has no opposition political parties, no election at all, no constitution, the worst dictator in Africa, and so many spies over there to assassinate any opposition Isaias Afwerki may have. So these people may be applying the same tactic. It doesn't work in Ethiopia. I don't think. Ethiopia is not Eritrea. So Eritrean guy is advising and providing some security assistance, as some reports suggested. I think we better tell him, stay away from our business. We don't need your politics. We don't need your advice. We don't need your advice. Stay away from our business. We don't need your democracy. Keep your democracy for Eritreans who are silent, under your leadership, and they are not challenging you. I see some challenge in some European countries, but I don't see that much challenge in Eritrea, because you are brutal, you are criminal, and you want to stay forever on power. No democracy, no election, and you try to teach, advise this, try to make, he was a nice guy, probably you make him evil. You know, he was a messiah. He was celebrated at home and a global stage. For some reason, maybe you changed his mind to be a dictator. So he will not be successful and you will not be successful. And I just advise you to stay away. You wanted your independence, keep your independence and stay away from Ethiopian business. Let Ethiopians deal with our own business. So your efforts are showing progress, as we can see from the United States Congress letter to Mike Pompeo, and it will lead to further victories in the future. Keep the pressure on and exposing Ethiopian criminals led by Abiy Ahmed. Keep lobbying for stiff sanction on Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia so that he and his team will be removed from power. That's my suggestion. If they are not reverse their course as they promised, if they don't carry out the promise they made, we have to keep pressure for more sanction. After these 60 days, when the report come back, usually Mike Pompeo may maybe ignore this, unbinding resolution, because people working under Trump administration, they don't care. They ignore anything, even by Congress. They think they are above the law, and that they have few months left for them, hopefully. So we don't know what's going to happen after 60 days. But the pressure should continue, and we have to demand for sanction if things are not changed, if the killing doesn't stop. And we have to call for HR 128, which was suspended after Abiy came to power. All our efforts must continue until we see all Oromo prisoners are out of jail. Okay? Command posts are removed from Oromia, and until Oromia is in the hands of Oromo. So our prayer must continue, our struggle must continue. We must do whatever we can until Oromia is in the hands of Oromo, until all Oromo prisoners are released from these overcrowded, dangerous jails. Most, some of them already purposely exposed to COVID-19. So we must continue our struggle, our movement to demand the removal of the command post from Oromia. Our people cannot live under the command post forever on their own land. They have to have a breathing air. They don't need a command post. We must appreciate all the 20 Congress members for sharing our cries and pain, and for standing for freedom, justice, peace, and equality in Ethiopia, and also for putting on notice the Ethiopian authorities for their unlawful conduct. We must appreciate these 20 congressmen and women whenever you have a chance to see them, whenever you have a chance to call them, email them, send your appreciation for their first courageous step to end the silence of the United States plus other countries. You know, the other countries are silent because the United States is silent. Usually, United States play a leadership role, a global leadership role. That role is non-existent under Trump leadership. That's why we see no response from UK, no response from Canada, no response from France, no response from Australia and from other countries because the head is sleeping. They usually follow the United States. The United States is out from the leadership by itself. So we have to appreciate these congressmen and women for standing for justice, for the Hachalu killing, for the Oromos dying, for all brutalities happening in Ethiopia. So we have to appreciate them for taking the leadership. Okay, that's all I have for today from Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you for listening, and so long until next time, and be safe. And I'm going to conclude with one activist.
Do they not know? Oromia doesn't belong to the Muslim, the Orthodox,
Minnesota,
the Lutheran, or the Jew. Do they not know? They can't divide us anymore. We are united like never before. Do they not know? We have torn down every wall between us and opened up every door. Do they not know? When they killed our Hachalu, they rang the bell for war? Do they not know Oromia doesn't belong to the RC? Oromia doesn't belong to the Walaga. Oromia doesn't belong to the Shoa. Oromia doesn't belong to the Hararge. Oromia is for the Oromo. They use dog whistles to try to triumph to the oppressors. They call us terrorists as they commit the same crimes as their predecessors. Didn't we come to the table when they asked? Didn't we hail their prime minister into office? Did we not fill up stadiums and waved our flags? Did we not come for peace? Did we not add ourselves when they asked us to add, only to leave us broken, disappointed, and sad? Yet, they call us divisive. They call us problematic. They call us hateful. Didn't they burn our books and send our teachers to prison? Didn't they steal our land and call us homeless? Didn't they burn our crops and kill our students? Didn't they murder our brothers and rape our wives? Don't they not remember our mother's tears as she used it to wash her dead child's skin? Didn't they call it justice? Didn't they use unity as a reason to silence us without a remedy? Yet last week, I saw a bunch of Ethiopians marching up and down, screaming Yam Menyal when Ethiopia is touched. Yam Menyal, Yam Menal, where was your himam when we died? Where was your himam when we cried? Where was your himam when we bled? Wishatam. Didn't I see an Ethiopian lady scream unity to my face and spit gala behind my back? Didn't I feel my grace crack as she sent me spiraling down a murderous track? I want to show her a stack of calendars that date back to the 1800s. I want to make her eat it. I want to make her eat it. As she learns the dates of the Oromo massacres and genocides. I want to push my fist down her throat and grab back my respect. I want her to swallow her own teeth instead of the bones of my ancestors. I want her to feel the fear they felt. I want her to feel so afraid her ancestors feel it.
Okay, that's I think the activist in Minnesota expressing her anger. So I just conclude with that, and I appreciate you for taking the time and listening to me. I will be back with other issues next time. Keep keep the resistance until freedom is achieved in Oromia. All Oromos freed from jail and peace and stability established in Oromia, Ethiopia. We're gonna keep fighting until change is coming in Oromia, Ethiopia, and until we bring all these criminals to justice for what they did to Oromos for the last 27 years and what they are doing now and what they may do in the future. They will come to justice, hopefully. Okay, so long, everyone. Bye bye.